We pray, Leif Tahor, may a pure heart, a clear heart be with us, God. And a spirit of yes, a true soul, may that be with us too. Coming in and out of the rain, into the warmth of the sanctuary. We're so good when we're hanging out together. So good to see all of you here. And thank you for being with us on site and also online, friends who are wherever you are. Stopping and dropping into Shabbat is vital. So, we begin our receiving of Shabbat. The journey to the Chadodi begins with Higalena on page 7 and 8. On this third annual Shabbat of the Child, a special Shabbat that we began 3 years ago, to imagine what it might be like to explicitly call out what is implicitly assumed in almost every Jewish institution that I've ever grown up in. We put children at the center. We're child-centered. This weekend, through the sermons and through the teachings tomorrow morning and through this evening's guest speaker at the dinner, we'll be lifting up the child in a number of different ways. One of the most beautiful images in rabbinic literature across the last 1,000 plus years is the image in the Zohar, the 13th century mystical commentary on the Torah that imagines rabbis walking around in various parts of Palestine and other places, probably more like Spain. And every now and then coming across what is known as the Yanuka, the child. And coming across the child would then start to teach these venerated and decorated rabbis new Torah from the mouth of children. So on Hanukkah, we light 44 candles, which is the gematria, the numerical value of the word Yeled, child. And so we hope that children will be the ones who show us the way in a dark world, who will give us Gilui, a revelation, show us the way to peace. As we chant together, Higalena, let peace come from the child within and for the children without.
Gale, gale, gale. Ufros havili Ufros havili
Page 9 and 10. Nina Ladonai Naria Letsul Yisheno Nekadem Afanav Vetodam Besmidos Mariano Melagadol Kololim Shiviodo Milclear Sofa Serino Shalom. Roim Shana Akut Medo Baoma Am Toei Levachem Vehem Lo Yadu Dirachai Asher Nishpati Liabim Yerovun El Menu Chosim Page 11 and 12. We continue on page 13 and 14. The Gil Mandelzis and Capitolis. ועשת את החילו העצונים, גלם הגדמס, מבני אדוני, מבני דנון כל ארץ. שמה ותשמח ציון, ותגל נא בנוס יהודה, למען משפטך אדוני, כי אתה אדוני עליון לכל ארץ ונס. אוהבי אדוני, סינודה, שומר נפשוס חסידיו, מיד ישועים יצילם, אור זרו לצדיק, ולישר להם שמחה, שמחו צדיקים באדוני וכבודו, לשכל הקודש ומזמור שיר, לאדוני שיר חדש, כימון הסמלות. עוד אדוני ישוע סוד, לעיני הגויים גילה צדקו סוד. נהרו שמחה וכף, יחררים ירננו, לפני אדוני כי בא לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק, ויאמין במישרים. Adonai Malach, Hebrews Zalmim on page 17 and 18. Let us raise up the truth within us and show reverence for that holy root. Let us honor the prophets and holy ones who called on being and heard its voice, who listened within revelation's cloud and brought back wisdom. B'amud anan yedaber aleihem, shamu edosah v'chok nasa lamo. Adonai Eloheinu, ata anisan, el noseh yisod lachem, v'nokei malali losam. Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, v'ishtachavu l'har kodesho, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Please rise if you're able. Psalm 29 on page 1920. More than David, Adonai Benekayim, Ahavuna Davaya Odeva Oz Ay Amna Donai
Kevat Shemo Shul Adonai Kodesh
Kol Adonai
Al Hamayim Al Hakavod Ha'iri Kol Adonai
Kol Adonai Behadano Kol Adonai Shobe Adonai Shobe Enatzi Alvanon Vayakidem Kemo Engel מלך לעולם ויעוז ויאמן ייתן עדיין יבד עמה ושלום דללי אבא You may be seated on page 21 and 22. Katitzura kabel minasamecha. Sagveinu tareinu nora nagivodo sheyichudecha. Kirava shamein. Chasin kadosh berov tuvecha nahila datecha. Towards the bottom of the page on page 21 and 22. I'm confident to Kedusha Secha Yachige I'm confident to Kedusha Secha Dini nai nai nai, dini nai nai dini nai מעשינו כבד ושמעת כעשינו, יודע תעלומות פורשים גיוון, נבוסון יונבן. Let me take 2 minutes. If your eyes are already closed, we invite those who also feel comfortable closing your eyes, just to take 2 minutes to check in. And as this is Shabbat of the Child, I invite you to check in and see a child in your mind's eye or feel a child's presence. Whatever first arises for you, if it's your own face as a child or a child of yours or a friend, any child will do. Inviting that child's presence this evening. And if you can sense in whatever way you sense the innocence and the purity of that child, the uncreased eyes and the open heart, maybe just the tenderness of a hand in your hand, in your mind's eye. And you can invite the child to be with you and to say, maybe to the child, I'm happy you're here. Thank you for coming. We're going to have fun. It's going to be a good weekend. Whatever dialogue you invite with the child, whatever they speak to you, as you feel your body. Psokli psukha, tell me your verse. Tell me your wisdom. Whisper in my ear that I might have something to hold on to this Shabbat of the child. A word, a phrase, a gesture. I'll follow your lead. As we breathe together. And whenever you're ready to open your eyes, if you feel called to, at your own pace, find the words of our ancestors on page 23 and 24. Lachal Dodi. Ay, 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 Bnei Shabbos. Kabbalat Bogi B'Shalom Ateres Ba'ala Gam B'Simcha U'etzor Hagamo Toch Emune Am Simcha Bogi Shalom Shabbat HaMalkah Yalalai, Bnei Shabbat, Nekavela, Echadori, Likas, Kala, Yalalai, Bnei Shabbat, Nekavela. Please remain standing as we turn to face Yerushalayim. The Mizmor for Shabbat on page 27 and 28. Mizmor Shir Le'yom HaShabbat. Tov L'dos L'Adonai. Od Ezamen L'Shimcha Elyon L'Agid B'Boker Chastech V'Munascha V'Lelos Alei Asor L'Navim. Ish Bar Lo Yedach Zilai V'Nesos V'Chol Shem Yikmo Yisrael Yatzitu Kol Polei Aven. All that works against your purposes, all that works against you withers. All that divided from you will be divided. Vata b'aydeni b'shurai bakam limalai mira'im tishman oznai. Hatzadik katam ma'agif ke'erez balavanon yes gesuni bebeis Adonai b'chatz lo seloveinu yamach b'ichu od yenovon v'seyama desheyanim v'rananim lehagid yashar Adonai tu'arik v'go'am Adonai Malachus, Revelation page 29. Nasu Neros Adonai, Nasu Neros Kolam, Yisu Neros Tochiam, Eido Secham Nemnu Mod Leveschan Ava Kodesh, Adonai, Odech Yomin. We pray for healing at this moment, everyone, so thank you for standing and staying connected with those who are being held in heart and in mind at this moment, who need healing in body, heart, mind, and spirit.
Healer of the broken, I'm here to sing a song, to echo all our sacred stories, another melody of love. Ana elna befana la, Ana elna befana la. Healer of the broken, your heart beats in the stars. Ana elna rafanala, oh, we pray that's where you are. Ana elna rafanala, Ana elna rafanala.
Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aaron, David, Shlomo, Yitzhak, Rivka, Leah, Bela, Zilpa, Dina, Naomi, Verosi, Varech, Rabbeis, Kol HaCholim, Baruch שכולנו מתפללים בעבורם ומצפים. We're yearning for their healing in body, heart, mind, and spirit. And we say Amen. You may be seated, everyone. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
If you're here for the first time, we can't wait to welcome you. I really can't wait. So just 30 seconds, a minute of hellos and some important announcements. First of all, this, as I mentioned already, you might have heard this is Shabbat of the Child, or as we acronym it, it's SOTC, and we've been thinking about this for a long time. It's our third annual Shabbat named this way and themed this way and introduced this way. Shabbat of the Child was the brainchild, as it were, of Gil Mandelzis, together with me and with partners, but really behind it is Gil and Capitolis, and we're so thankful for your generosity, Gil, and also more than your generosity, it's the feeling and the intense intimacy and personal quality that comes to this yearning of yours to see us lift up the safety of all of our children, all of our institutions. We thought, what better way to bring awareness to this issue than to dedicate a Shabbat to it. And our dream is not that Romemu is the only shul that has a Shabbat dedicated to the safety and the protection and the celebration of children, that it becomes something everywhere. And you can find it in every synagogue in every city around this country. May it come soon. But tonight and this weekend, and in fact, the entire month, we'll be dedicating to themes related to celebrating children and also protecting them and giving parents and others resources to both identify child maltreatment and also to prevent it, most importantly, perhaps. So thank you. We also have some sponsorships as well. Oh, in that, I forgot to mention, all of you here are invited to a dinner following this evening service. It's across the street at the Romemu Center. You didn't need to register ahead of time. It's sponsored by Gil and Capitolis and by the Romemu community. So please, you are welcome to come immediately following the services. Also, thank you to sponsorships for this entire weekend of music from Chava Bat Sarah Bat Daniel in honor of the Romemu rabbis. Thank you to Sarah Bat Moshe Mizka and Mizka Bat Yosef Echaya Sidrika, Yosef Ben Shlomo Tzelek, and Moshe Ben Avigdor Dov Sarah Leah, and Toli Ben Abraham Bechava. All of this in honor of Daniel Ben Kuppel Vifani. Thank you for all of that. We also have the Romemu membership drive, which is in full swing between now and June 5th. And so if you are someone who can say easily to the answer to this question, does Romemu support your Jewish spiritual life, then please be a member. If you're already a member, renew your membership. And if not yet a member, please become a member so that we can continue to do what we do. Also, that the Mental Health Awareness Month is happening as well on Tuesday evenings with Rabbi Kohler Esses teaching as well. So, last thing I guess is the Romemu Mandala Cafe is on Sunday, which is I guess May 8th, not May 9th as it is written here. I think it's May 8th, the Sunday in the afternoon at 2:00. Okay. Hi. Who'd like to say hello? Anybody want to say hi and welcome? Be welcomed. If you're here for the first time, you just have to stand up and say your name and where you're from, and we'll leave it at that. We won't be too, intrusive. And hi. Anderson, welcome. Good to have you. Thank you. I'm just also repeating it so that the people online can also know what's happening here in the Zoom in the room. Our Zoomagoggers also. If you guys, anybody who's new in the Zoomagog, you could also chat in for that information. Hi. All right, Sarah.
Brooklyn.
We have this thing, Brooklyn thing. Sarah from Brooklyn. It's like in the post-pandemic, or we're not post-pandemic, but in this reality that we're in, whatever this is, we forget how robust our Brooklyn chant was. We used to really get into it. We'd be like, Brooklyn. Okay, I'm not. It is what it is. Okay, anybody else? I'll say hello, anybody? Sarah is a teacher at Ramaz. Wow, I didn't ask for that information, but that's good information. Sarah, where are you from? From Manhattan. I went to Ramaz. You know that? Okay, I got it. Okay. You didn't go to. You went to Flatbush. Flatbush. Okay.
When you say it like that, I went to Flatbush.
I went to Flatbush. How does Ramaz people say it? I went to Ramaz. Okay. Flatbush. Okay. Wow. Anybody else want to tell us where they work or where they're from? We should add. That's such a good one though. Ramaz is a good one because because it really brings me back to my roots. You know, if Rabbi Luxin could see me now. Well, it's not Shabbat yet, so maybe he could. I don't know. So. Anybody else want to say hello? Anybody? Anybody? Okay, let's see if we're in there. We have some new Zimmers. No? Okay. Awesome. Nobody? Okay. You can all rise if you're able for the Baruch Hu, the call to prayer. Page 31, 32. We affirm at this moment as we call to community that this community is a radically inclusive and welcoming place. And that means that every human being is welcome here, irrespective of the things that usually divide us. We see the Tzelem Elohim, the image of the divine in all of humanity. And our call to community is a call to that which in us is the same. Ay, 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 yadaydum. Hey, ay, ay, yadaydum. Yamamam, ay, 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 yadaydum. Yamamam, yadaydum, yadaydum. Yamamam, oh, yamamam. Yamamam. You may be seated. מחליפה לעצמנו את דרך כוחו בשביל מאוד. הילה חיה וקיימת, תמיד תמלוך עלינו לעולם לא אין, רוחת שכינה. המריבה ערבים, עניין במים עיני נננם, יא בבם בבם בבם, יא בבם About all on basis from on page 36. אהבתך מה תעשי ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. Prayer for Shema, page 37 and 38. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. On page 39 and 40. V'yohavta es Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha We can continue on page 41 and 42 and 43. Vayam Shemot Tishmot Sotah. Usha v'chav kumech v'chsav gam ha'mezuzot v'yisach v'shar chadam ani v'yimechem B'mei v'nechem lo l'ma sheyesh b'Adonai l'vasechem l'tzisam gimei shamayim ha'aretz v'yim Adonai Moshe l'mor Daber al b'nei Yisrael v'marta alihem yisodem tzitzi Otan v'gideihem l'gorosam l'fnot Sheratem zonim l'chayim l'madi zizgur v'zisem espom v'zosai v'isem v'doshim l'chani Adonai l'chem Asher v'tzeisi yitzchem מארץ מצרים יוספכם אלוהים אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. באמונה כל זאת וקיים עלינו כי הוא אדוני אלוהים ואין תלותו ולכיס עולמו אמר עמד וחינו על במות אויבינו וירם קרנינו על כל שונאינו ולא סבנו ניסנו. Page 47 and 48, we remember the song of the sea, the liberation long awaited having arrived. Moshe u'Miriam u'bnei Yisrael cha'alu shira b'simcha rabba ve'amru cholam li chamocha. Yivenu on page 49 and 50. Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom. V'amidenu malkeinu l'chaim. V'fros aleinu v'sukkah shlomecha l'vrachot. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha baruch atah Adonai Ore sukat shalom aleinu al kol amo Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'al Yerushalayim. Please rise if you're able. V'shamru on page 51 and 52. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorosam Yiskadal v'yiskadash shemei rabah.
Amen.
Alma divrach yirusei v'yamlich malchusei v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayechon beis Yisrael v'agan labat agan u'mizman kol v'yimeru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabah mivorach Yismarach, Yishtabach, Yisboach, Yisromam, Yisnasek, Yishadar, Yisalev, Yisalal, Shmei Dikushah, Leila Mina Kol Birchosav, Meshirasam, Atosh Mechata, Venechem Asadam, and let us say, Amen. Silent Amidah can be found on page 56 as we hold silence together.
To all of my brothers and friends, to all of my sisters and friends, please let me bring to you my little prayer. Peace to you, to all who have wandered alone, to all with no place to call home. Please let me bring to you my little prayer. Peace to you. Open your heart, sing in my song a prayer all hate will sing. Yeah, da 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 da. To all of my sisters and friends, please let me sing to you my little prayer. Peace to you.
We're listening this week to the late, great Western Buddhist philosopher named Alan Watts. In one of his lectures called The Tao of Philosophy, he said a remarkable thing that just hit me like right in the gut. Talking about the sense of self, talking about the I as it develops within the West, the one who is the observer, the one who is the experiencer, the one that we feel is contiguous and solid in my I. He writes, it's actually absurd to say that we came into the world. We didn't. We came out of it. What do you think you are? Supposing the world is a tree, are you leaves on its branches, or are you a bunch of birds that settled on a dead old tree from somewhere else? Surely everything that we know about living organisms from the standpoint of the sciences shows us that we grow out of this world. That we, each one of us, are what you might call symptoms of the state of the universe as a whole. Symptoms of the state of the universe as a whole. Man, I tell you something, I heard that. And I started thinking about the phrase, out of this world. Out of this world. Man, how was that service? Oh, it was out of this world. Right, how was that concert? Oh, out of this world. Out of this world. Watts says that the phrase out of this world actually is a more apt, accurate, scientifically rooted and evidentiary expression of who we are than having come into this world from somewhere beyond the world. This wonderful turning of a phrase and also its textured quality, its valence, multivalence, we would say. Interesting, out of this world both means immanent and transcendent all at once. To be out of this world is to be beyond the world. You're out of the world. Man, it was off the charts, but I don't mean off, I mean out, off, out. But out of this world means to have emerged from within the world. We are of it, not more than it, but of it. as the leaves are of the tree. We humans are out of this world. This insight from Alan Watts gave me much to think about as we approached this weekend. For me, this weekend is something I think about all year long, and it happened to coincide with Parshat Kedoshim, the beginning of the book of, the chapter 19 of the book of Leviticus. Kedoshim coincides with Shabbat of the Child, and insight from Watts into out of this worldness, transcendence and immanence, beyond and from within, permeates the conversation about Kedusha, holiness. The Torah has a vision for the world. If you want to know what the vision of the world is, it is a vision called holy, a holy world. So what is a holy world? What's a holy anything? And on that, there are, of course, many commentators, as there should be, on such a fraught four-letter word. Holy. Some say that holiness means that which is separated and distinguished, having been made special. Kadosh means unique. Some say, of course, that Kadosh means an attribute of the divine that we might never, ever fully embody. Some say that holiness is to live an ethical and moral life. Lots of definitions for holy, but let's just assume for a moment that the world that the Torah envisions, called the holy world, is definitionally a world that is infused with what we would call good, what we might call love, what we might call sacred, something irreducible and pure, maybe even innocent. And so I guess, having known what it is, how do we arrive at this holy vision of this holy world? How do we get to the land called Kedusha? Well, the Torah basically says, if you want to know how to get there, you have to first acknowledge that there are two kinds of Kedusha, two kinds of holy. The first is that the world isn't only something, holy is not just something that we work to build, but something that we uncover and discover. Holiness already exists. Category number one of holiness is the already holy. The already holy appears, of course, in Shabbat. The very first time the Torah talks about anything holy, it's not a place, it's not a person, but it's a time. Vayivarech Elohim es yom hashvi'i vayikadesh oso. Shabbat is Kedusha Kaima. Shabbat is already holy. Shabbat represents the already holy that you find in anything that you open your eyes to. You didn't do it, and you don't have to. It's the beauty that you see before it, and the only thing that you have to do is to acknowledge its existence, protect it. That's what we have to do with the already holy. We acknowledge its power, the beauty of the day or of the majestic mystery that is before us. We protect its preciousness. We witness the flower and all that it represents, the raw transcendence of the stars as they radiate, or the profound silence of the galaxies as they just beam. The already holy needs nothing from us but awareness. And building a holy world means we must also make the not yet holy into holy. The second category is not that which we discover, but that which we co-create. The collaborative lab of holiness in process. We are not only to discover holy, but to claim more space for it. We are holy knots, seeking out lands that we have not yet discovered, going where no one has gone before for the sake of the not yet holy. This not yet holy domain is active in us as we add time onto Shabbat, bring it into the week. We make a new relationship with someone we didn't know and all of a sudden discover their holiness, and collectively we become holier together. We are in the business of making the not yet holy holy, and to remove any of the inhibitions of that which might emerge as holy so that it might fully grow into its natural goodness. The inherent unfolding of holiness patterns in our world is our work. We might frame these two positions, the already and the not yet holy, as a holiness that points to an awareness of something bigger than us, and a holiness that we co-create. It replicates itself, the Kedusha gene, if you will. Both of these frames are a way into understanding the opening lines of the Torah's portion known as Kedoshim. Before the Torah enters into what the scholars call the Holiness Code, a series of detailed ethical and moral and ritual commandments whose purpose was probably to create and co-create a holy world, it begins with a strange enigmatic phrase, Kedoshim tiyo ki kadosh ani Adonai Elohechem, you will be holy, or to you will be holy, you must be holy. Is it a question? Is it a promise? Is it a commandment? Kedoshim can be translated, Kedoshim to you can mean you shall be, or you will be holy, because the two frames are both there. There are things in the world that are already holy and they don't need anything but your recognition, says the Torah. Kedoshim, to you, there is holiness. Just like I am holy, God says, and I already am that way. And then there are realms that need your effort, your hard work, and your diligence in order to bring it into manifestation, just like me, God says. I'm not yet fully done. Just as I, God, am already holy and not yet fully expressed, so too the world as you see it, God says, like me, can be divided into what is already and what might yet be. And then God says, the Torah says something very beautiful. Not only is that true of the divine and the world outside of us, but it's also true of us. We have within us that which already is inherently beautiful, holy, perfect, and that which is not yet. The potential that hasn't yet been actualized, the future that hasn't yet been made manifest, the discoveries that are waiting for our emergence. It's hard not to think within those categories of what I saw this morning at my little boy Orr's school up in Riverdale. Orr's birthday will be tomorrow, May 7th. 7 years ago, on May 7th, a Shabbat also, that little light came into the world. 6 years ago, sorry, he's 6, I'm not rushing ahead of myself. Today's the 6th, tomorrow's the 7th, he's 5 today, he'll be 6 tomorrow. It's a lot of numbers. Whew. Brain freeze. It's hard not to think about those little people that I saw this morning in that classroom. Kept thinking, Kedoshim to you, you little people. Little Adina, Yaila, little Isaac. As I sat there on their little shpilkes, each one of them with their creativity, each one unfinished, obviously, perfection that can be made more perfect with time, but already holy, not yet holy. Kedoshim, Tahorim, sweet, beautiful, innocent, vulnerable, open, alive, full of potential, full of aliveness, vitality, bursting at the seams. A natural egocentrism, a resilience, an exuberance. It wasn't hard, if I might, since we're in a church, to quote the New Testament. Lest ye be as little children, you shall not enter the kingdom. There's a childlike quality also in our own tradition, to be a yanuka, to be a child, to be childlike, to have innocence, to have that. It's hard not to think about Shabbat of the child and about how each and every year for the past 3 years, we have sat together to talk about the most fundamental and profound resource that we have at our disposal, which are our children. They are the future, quite literally. And here we are talking about Kiddusha, the Holiness Project, the world of a holy vision. And shouldn't those who embody the most pristine aspect of both Kiddusha that already is and Kiddusha that might yet be, shouldn't they be the litmus test of any holy vision, holy world? Decide where we are along the continuum. How do we treat the most holy of our citizens? The ones whose potential is so full. Are we their guardians? Are we their shomrim? Are we there to make sure that their emergence is successful? If the holy requires safeguarding and protection, and if the not yet holy demands participation to ensure holiness emerges, we should have a holiness code for children, not a holiness code which we read for us as adults. We should be in synagogues around the world with a specific code, Vayidaber Adonai el Moshe Lemor. Daber el Bnei Yisrael, el Yaldei Yisrael. Speak to the children of Israel, the children of the world, and say to them. But of course, that would be ridiculous. It should be saying to us, speak to us, the adults of the world, and say to them, protect your children. Do not treat them as chattel. Make sure that you don't live in an adult-centered world that doesn't imagine that a child's feelings and reality is ever present and is as important, if not more important, and more vulnerable than yours. How could it be? But I think the Torah does give us a little piece. I'm going to come in for a landing soon. I think the Torah gives us a little piece. And it comes back to Watts. Watts. Children don't come into the world, they come out of the world. Children are out of this world. They're a window, a portal into the beyond because of their having coming here, coming out of here, trailing clouds of glory. They're still attached to that place. They're still attached to that unsullied, trusting, open-hearted place that we as humans can only aspire, hopefully one day, to be able to touch again, to be so clear, to be so able to be hurt, and for that reason, so able to trust. So Watts was right. We come out of this world. And children are out of this world. And so the Torah says, Kidoshim to you, Ki kadosh ani. You will be holy because you emerged from me, God says. And in this, I want to bring the Ramban, Nachmanides, who said something remarkable. When the Torah said, be holy, there was an argument between two great medieval rabbis, Rashi and the Ramban. And Ramban said something remarkable. He said, listen, the Torah didn't have to come along and tell us to be holy in the sense of a commandment. There are enough commandments in the Torah. There was nothing new in telling us be holy, or you will be holy. The Ramban Nachmani says, you know what? You can keep the whole Torah, each and every letter of it. And you can come along and say, it doesn't say anywhere in the Torah, really, it doesn't say anywhere in the Torah that I can't eat 15,000 hamburgers at every meal. It doesn't say anywhere in the Torah that I should speak lovingly to my wife or my partner. There are so many things in the Torah that are not written explicitly. And if someone come along and say it's not in the Constitution, I didn't see it. I mean, the founding fathers of our country and our document don't have it in there, right? The Torah doesn't have anything about computers and about microphones and about printed paper. And so if it's not in the Torah, then it must not be relevant. It's not what they had imagined. It says the Ramban in the 13th century in Spain, that's absurd. That can't be what holiness means, that you live according to the letter of the law. Ramban says, Nachmanides says, Kidoshim to you is not only the things I said earlier, but he says something even more profound. He says, you know what we grow out of in this world? We grow out of an understanding, a field of awareness. There's a great field, the general sensibility, we might call it common sense. Like if you understand a little bit about the Torah, you'll understand how absurd it is to imagine that speaking to your wife or your husband or your partner in a way that isn't demonstrably loving is just not in the spirit of the Torah. If you read the Torah carefully, the Ramban says you can miss the point of what it is to become holy and how important the emergent field in which you are planted matters. The Ramban says only somebody who doesn't get the gestalt looks into the Torah and says, How many hamburgers am I allowed to eat before I become completely like I'm just not treating my body well? It's not written here, so I guess I'll just figure it out. He calls this a naval birshuta Torah. You can be somebody who acts disgracefully, but with the permission of the Torah. The permission of the Torah. That we can live in a world where the majority of the people in this country, it's so clear to them that a woman should have control of her own body. It's not just clear because of it says it or didn't say it in the Constitution. It's clear because it's at the essence of what it is to be a free country, to have liberty and the pursuit of goodness, to make sure that there aren't more unwanted children in the world, to make sure that violence doesn't come to women who desperately need an abortion. And so it's not written in the Constitution. Okay. There are a lot of things that aren't written in the Constitution that seem to be as obvious as the hand in front of my face. So the Ramban comes along and he says, you know what? You know your holy vision part, the holy world? You know that there are things that are already holy and there are things that are not yet holy? It should be obvious to each and every one of us, the Ramban says, that children come out of the soil that we plant them in. And that soil should be a place where children's rights are lifted up. It doesn't say it in the Torah, there's no holiness code. So what? Look at that child and look at the way we treat them. It's staggering to me, as someone who is a survivor of childhood abuse and who has publicly said that each and every year. It's staggering to me still how little attention is paid to our children publicly, how little attention is paid to the responsibility that we have and the assumption that in the Jewish community, maybe we'll get a degree from sacred spaces, maybe not. It's staggering to me. It's staggering to me that it's not written in large, like letters on every lawn, on every suburban synagogue, that it's our responsibility to stop child abuse in our institutions and in every home. It's staggering to me that there isn't a referendum on parenting and whether or not it's okay to spank a child. It's staggering to me that in an enlightened country where each and every one of us knows a rabbi, an imam, a priest, that we're not actually speaking about this more than once a year, maybe once a month. It's staggering to me that institutions of faith don't provide parenting classes for young mothers and fathers. It's staggering to me. Like my mind can't get around it. If I had $1 million, the first thing I would do is I would have classes for parents. Is there a greater social need? I just don't understand. It's staggering to me. My mind tries to fit around it, and all I can do is go back to Alice Miller, a great therapist who had the courage to write, "Thou shalt not be aware," the drama of the gifted child, and say that it must be a collective denial. How else do we explain it? How else can we explain the level of intense social justice activism within the Jewish community that touches almost every single issue, from Israel to Palestine, to poverty, to homelessness, to domestic violence, to equality, to racism, to homophobia, to Islamophobia? How is it possible? So I want to say maybe it's because of what the Ramban said. Maybe Nachmanides, his teaching that holiness is basically the field, and all of us assume that the field has been taken care of. There is already a field. It's emergent. We know. We live on the Upper West Side. There's a therapist on every corner and a Montessori school around the block. But each and every year, as we cycle through the holidays, as we cycle through all of the various things that we as conscientious lovers of a world that is already holy and dedicated light workers to make the not yet holy holy. it strikes me profoundly that the children are waiting for us. The children are waiting for us to say to them, you are out of this world. You are out of this world. This world that we will populate with protection. This world that we will populate with awareness and truth-telling. This world that we will make safe for you. This world where we will do our due diligence as adults to manage and regulate our own emotions and feelings and say that writ large. That we as adults will absolutely take it upon ourselves to say that it is our work to bring about a world with greater holiness. As Rav Kook said, Hayashan titchadesh, v'chadash yitkadesh. That which is old will become new like children, and the new will become holy like the one. On this Shabbat of the child, my prayer is that 1 year from now, we will be able to look at the statistics and the numbers around child maltreatment in this country and everywhere and see that we have done our best to lift up those children who are out of this world. Please rise. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים מודים לעילוי ולכם הקדוש ברוך הוא שנשם. והשב אותה אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, והשב אותה אל לבבך, כי אדוני לפניך אלוהינו יכלו ליפול לכבוד שמך איתנו יקבל כולם את עולמותיך כי המלכות שלך ימנה תמלוך בכבוד כך עשו בשורשיך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. Sometimes I lay under the moon and I thank God I'm breathing and I pray don't take me soon cause I'm here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I cry but I never let it get me down. Cause I know one day, V'nemar, V'haya Adonai, L'melech al kol haaretz, V'yom ha'hu, and God wipe away tears from all of the faces of the children. We lift up in this space this evening those who are remembering loved ones, who are holding loved ones in memory for the Mourner's Kaddish, which can be found in the back of your studio on page 115. We'll invite the names if you feel comfortable, Michael. Iva? Theo? Angie? I'm going to read out the names from the Zumagog too. Some folks in here. Ishloshnim for Elena Yuka Turka, Jane Kiskadin, Shuli Engel and Isaac Engel, Marty Soko, Jordan Kushner, El Grala, Renee Sorek Ribnick, Judy Ribnick's mother. Also, Irving Geduldig, Yitzchak Shmuel Ben David, and Mary Glassman, also Philip Buckman, and Etta Zernsko, Etta Simon, Valerie's grandmother, also Leslie Lewis lost her ex-husband, and Eliezer Deutsch. Please rise if it's your custom to stand for the mourners. Yiskadal v'yiskadash shmei Rabbah. V'alma divrachi rusei v'yamlich malchusei. V'chayechonu v'yomechonu v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. B'agalav v'zman kariv imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mivorach. Ve'alam yomei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar. Romam Vitnase, Vitadar Vitale, Vitala, Shmei de Kutsha, Brichu, Le'elam in Kol Birchata v'Shirata, Tush Birchata v'Nechemata, Da'amiran v'Oma v'Imru, Yehei Shloma Rabba Min Shmaya v'Chayim Tovim Aleinu v'Al Kol Yisrael v'Imru, Amen. Oseh Shalom v'Ramav, Oyaseh Shalom Aleinu v'Al Kol Yisrael v'Al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, v'Imru, Amen. Yehi Zichron Baruch, may the memory be a blessing. I invite you to please rise and stand together for the counting of the Omer, which can be found on page 103. L'shem yichud kushe brichu shchintei nimuchon uzuman akayem mitzvat aseh shel svirat haomer sheva shabbatot Temimotiyena Sheva Shabbatot Temimotiyena La 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 Ya la 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 Ya ma 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 ya la la Ya la 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 Ya la 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 Ya la 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 Ya la 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher Yigdashanu mitzvosav v'tzivanu al sfiras haomer. On the bottom, page 104, Hayom Echad v'Esim Yom Shehem Shlosha Shavuos LaOmer Malchut shebetiferet Ya bam 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 Ya bam 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 Ya bam 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 Ya na 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 Ya na 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 I invited you to lead services tonight, and I didn't open my eyes one time, and so I'm so sorry. So can you lead us in Kiddush, and you'll come back next week and lead with us? Or tomorrow morning, or any other time, which is easier. We're going to have Kiddush, everybody, on page 88.
Yom HaShishi, Vayechulu HaShamayim v'haaretz, v'chol tzivam, Vayechad Elohim et Yom HaShvi, v'yom asher asa, וישפוט ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי וקדש אותו כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. סברי חבריי, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בשבת קדשו באהבה וברצו הנהילנו זיכרון למעשה בראשית כי הוא יום תחילה למקרא קודש זהה ליציאת מצרים כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת עם כל העמים ושבת קודשך ואהבה וברצון הנהלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Thank you. Where'd you go, Ellie? Thanks to Ellie, everybody. Thanks to, let's see, Elliot, and thanks to Rabbi Janice Elster, and to Grace, who's holding the entire Shabbat of the Child. And thank you to our team, Natalia, and to Freddie, and to Justin, and to Victor, and to, let's see, Blanca, and Erica, and of course, I said Rabbi Elster, but I'll say it again, Rabbi Elster, and Anna Dardik, and who is our person, and of course to you, Shoshana Jedwab, our rhythmer, our heartbeat, and to Luke. Let's sing together, everybody. Don't forget, everybody, free dinner and a lecture or talk with it and questions across the street. But let's do some waves. Let's do Shabbat Shalom to our Zuma God.